small little assignment that you will need to do for these topic, right? Based on UNISM's assessment criteria. There is a need for you to complete this small assignment that uh, accounts to 15% of this module. So how to find the information about this assignment? Right? So if you go to the Polite Mall, by now you should be able to see a folder called the IAQ assignment. If you click on it, I believe you are seeing my screen. So you will be able to find this document called IAQ assignment, April 2025. You can download the copies. Uh, so we'll quickly go through it here. Right? The assignment is for you to have this experience of doing a site inspections. If better still, if on hand you have some form of equipment or instruments that you can use to do some measurements, you will gain bonus points. If not, then just a physical walkthrough, visual inspection is sufficient. So what do you need to capture? Right? So first, you need to identify an aircon building. Any aircon building, preferably a commercial one or industrial buildings, or any public building, right, that you can visit. So it could be a shopping mall, it could be any public buildings that you have access to. Okay. Then do a walkthrough inspection of the aircon floor, just one floor, right? Preferably the first story. Okay. And then inspect a part of it. Right? Do not need to, if the floor area is really big, then you just do a part of it. Preferably a space, the space that you're inspecting is not less than 400 square meter. Right? Then look at the space and try to identify some of the issues, right? For example, the pathway, right, where these pollutants could come in. So when you are doing your visit, prepare a sketch plan of the floors. Alternatively, if you're using a shopping mall, you can go to any of their firefighting lobbies and take a photo of the floor plan, right? So, and you can make use of it, okay? And just club up the areas that you are inspecting, okay, for this exercise. So, preferably on the plan, indicate the use of the space. Where is the door, right? If there are any staircase or lift, you can mention it. If it's just a space that doesn't have that the staircases or lift, it's okay, right? But at least show where are the doors, because the pollutants may come in through the doors, through the vents, and more importantly, the air conditioning and mechanical ventilation systems. So give a brief description about the type of buildings, type of occupancy, right? What kind of finishes. Is it ceramic tiles or carpet tiles? Is it wallpaper or painted walls? Right? Do we have false ceiling, right? And so on? And identify and describe the possible polluted pathways. So you can list down what are some of the pollutants that you believe will come in, right? Carbon dioxide, that's the basic, right? But what are the sources of the carbon dioxide? Is there any source of carbon monoxide? Maybe because of the vehicle exhaust near to the main entrance, right? Because the taxi, the driveway is there, and therefore there's a constant amount of this carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, and the exhaust fumes, nitrogen oxide, sulfur dioxide, that is coming in through the sliding doorway. Right? That could ultimately affect the indoor air quality. Take photos of the surroundings, externally, internally, like identify especially the, the path for the uh, pollutants. Also identify where could be the fresh air intakes or the exhaust air outlets. If you have some instruments with you, such as the temperatures, there's any IAQ meters, then you will score bonus point, right? If you have some readings. So prepare this simple written report, right? About 1,000 words, not a lot, and try to cover these various topics. So the marking scheme is a total of 50 marks, right? And the various weightage. Okay. I hope you can spend over the next few weeks, right? Maybe one of your weekends, do a visit and prepare the report and submit this report by the 31st of July. So when you do the submission, just go to this IAQ assignment submission, right, page, and attach and upload the files. Is there any questions related to this assignment? It can be a group assignment if you want to work, collaborate with your classmate, 2-person, 3-person, form one team to submit the report. That's okay. But if for some reason you want to have it done individually, please let me. Oh, Xuan Yi, you are saying too late, is it? You want to submit faster, earlier? Yeah, by all means. You can always submit earlier. I'm giving a bit more time for some who may need to juggle quite a number of your commitments. Any questions related to this? Okay, if there are no further questions, maybe at this point, can I invite anyone to share any personal experience about your encounters in areas or building that has a pretty bad indoor air quality, and how that affect you or your colleagues? Anyone? Feng has a question. We don't have tests for these topics, not my topics. I think the test component probably will come from Uni's topic. So for my part, just submit the assignment and that's it. Hopefully everyone score near to full marks. So this assignment does not necessarily need to be 2 or 3, right? Can be 4 or 5 also. Think try to keep to about 3 so that we give everyone some chance to contribute to the report.
Cannot be 4.
Then why don't you split the 4 into 2?
Then why we don't do ourselves?
You can do yourself. It's just that if you need some help, you find you can learn better by doing with 1 or 2 of your classmates. Then
I think 4 is just 5. The green building also 4 person.
Okay, then since you have already formed your group, then I'm fine with that.
Mr. Chan, is it? Yeah. This one is only talking about only one floor, right? Looks like.
Yes, 1 floor. Just select one area, maybe a shopping mall, the main
ground floor
area.
I think ground floor could be more things to write because ground floor is open to outside pollutant.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Second floor don't have exit.
Usually not, unless you have some kind of areas that is you may have chosen the car park for whatever reason, right? Basement car park. Then there are also things to write. You could have chosen a place where it's near to some food court. Then there's also other things that
food court. Yes.
So
food court. A lot of it. Yeah. Even the before city next to the MRT connection to MRT, that one is good now.
Okay, why not?
Yeah. Connected to the MRT entrance. That one is
quite a bit of things for you to see and observe. High this crowd, right? Level of CO2 will be high.
Yeah, very high because they have food court right in middle of the walkway. Then they have food court the side, both sides, and then quite a lot. Mostly food court actually the basement car park, basement floor for university.
So shouldn't be a difficult one. I mean, it just happens to be maybe one of your weekend outing with family members, and you just excuse yourself for half an hour, take some photos, note down everything, and go back, type your report. It will be quite manageable. How about any personal experience that there are issues that you face inside your building that you think contributed to the bad air quality? We'll hear from you first, then I'll share with you my personal experience.
The bad air quality I ever experienced will be this this place this to wrong side.
Oh, is it an industrial building or?
It's an industrial building. It's a B2 industrial building.
Oh,
I can't remember the name. Pioneer Center.
Pioneer Center. So what are the pollutants you think you have?
Okay, inside maybe we talk about the ground floor. There's 3 or 4 scrap company. Collecting scrap company. Those what you call it? Scrap waste company. And then they use a forklift. Wow, they drive very fast, and then the forklift let go a lot of those carbon dioxide.
Those carbon dioxide and potentially some carbon monoxide as well.
Carbon monoxide. Or they let go. Then and then they also have a car repair shop ground floor. Then so a lot of traffic, and lorry will park down there beside the coffee shop. Then they sometimes let the car idle. The lorry idle. So and then the second floor they have this arc welding, gas welding. You can see the lightning lightning, and then they get a lot of smokes. It was so bad. There's one time I thought he activated the fire alarm. If the smoke is so bad, they do the welding. They didn't turn on the fan enough. So activate the fire alarm, and then we rushed. We thought there's fire, and then me and my security guard, we rushed out. I called security guard. He said on the second floor. So we rushed to the second floor. We found that people didn't turn on the fan. The worker didn't turn on the fan, and it was so smoky. Yeah, it was. So we tend to stop everything on the fan for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and as many fans as possible. Because the way Pioneer Center design is that it's a very enclosed one, It's, you only see windows from the outside. And then when you go in, it's very dark one. It's very dark one. The light is not strong enough. So it's very enclosed. So it triggered a few times. Every time they do welding for about 5-10 minutes, the smoke will develop, and then it will trigger the fire alarm. It was a very trying period. So I was there for 3 months only. Yeah. So it was and then it was very bad that even my council member complained. There's one at the corner tendon. They do heavy welding. And it was very bad. It was very smelly. Yeah, they call it metallic smell when you do welding.
Yeah, very good sharing. So when you do some of these observations, do also highlight whether in your personal opinion, the quality of the air is good or no good. For example, do you feel that the air is stagnant? Do you feel that the temperature is too high, right? And also because, for example, in industrial buildings, just like what this Shin has mentioned, the release of these so-called byproduct of the industrial activities could cause the pollutants, the total VOCs to be very, very high. So in the building, you can even comment how's the ventilation design. Is it adequate for that kind of situation? Right? So because this kind of industrial buildings likely is non-aircon in many of the space. So they depend on ventilation, whether mechanical ventilation or natural ventilations. So just like what you mentioned, if they have a lot of windows but these are all closed, then the effective cross ventilation mode will not occur, and therefore the smoke, the gases that is being released is actually being trapped in a part of the building, cannot get out. So if the building has some kind of air well design, maybe at the center or at certain part that allows this smoke or hot gases to be vented up through like an air well, then you will realize that the ventilation will improve and the quality of the air in these spaces will be better. Right? So when you make the observations, you can also comment, right, on some of this, whether the air conditioning system diffusers are adequate diffusers, the return air path is near to where the heat is, so that they can effectively remove the hotter air, right, or the polluted air. So those are the comments, additional comments that you can make, right?
Actually, there is the air well and there's an exhaust at the center. They have exhaust at the corner. 4 corners and at the center. Apparently the center one was spoiled. Poor maintenance and it wasn't working. So left the 4 corners exhaust, and then the 4 corner can't do much because you need to be directly below the exhaust, then it can suck out able to suck out. If you are on the center of the building, too far cannot. That's why that's the problem. I always got fire alarm activated. It was once they start only, that's it. They cannot continue to do their welding too long. The smoke will develop very bad. It's a very poor design. Finance center is a very poor design. Very poor. It's very, the windows surrounding the outer window, surrounding the buildings it's very small one, It's not big, and then how to allow the air to flow through, It basically is just like it just spread out the smoke to your neighbor only. That's it. It's not going anywhere. So your neighbor will get it, Your neighbor will get it, and then it takes a while to the smoke start to slowly disappear, and then we had to reset the fire alarm. It's very bad. It's I think one of the worst design, one of the worst building. Finance center is
Thanks for sharing this. Anyone else with bad experience in office environment? Do you know what are the common problems that you will face in the office environment? Anyone have seen in your office on the wall mold forming, especially those walls that is at the facade? Anyone have such experience before?
Not on the walls, on the ceiling.
On the ceiling?
Yes.
Yes, because inside the ceiling there could be water pipes, there could be, if it's air conditioning pipes or ducts, sometimes condensations, right? So quite often, especially near to the aircon grills areas, because of excessive condensations, mold start to form, right? So those are
not in this case, because we have raised floor and our air conducting is below the raised floor, so the return air is actually at the ceiling. So we were the issue was not really that easily diagnosed as to what really caused the moles, and the moles were just focused on one particular room. That was the strange thing. That was the strangest thing.
your aircon discharge is from the floor, so you are operating some kind of a data center.
No, it's office. That was a printer room.
Printer room.
Yeah. That was the strangest thing, yes.
So they use displacement aircon. Cold air come from the floor.
Yeah, cold air. But the issue is also when we put the airflow meter to the floor diffuser, right? The flow is very normal. It's up to about a meter. So then the flow was as per normal, and then our AHU fan speed is also as per normal, 25 gigahertz. So nothing was excessive, but we just could not find out what was the real cause of this mold that keep appearing in this and on this floor only.
And you are saying that the mold is appeals on the false ceiling panel.
Yeah, ceiling board. Yeah, ceiling board.
is due to condensation.
Yeah, that was the suspicion, but we do not really understand how that condensation can happen when you don't have things that are too cold nor too hot that will give rise to this issue, you see.
How high is the ceiling, the floor ceiling from the floor?
2.8.
2.8. Okay, usually why condensation occurs is because when you have a very cold surface in contact with slightly warm and moist air. So the moist air could be inside the floor ceiling. What contributes to the warm and moist air? You may need to investigate. But what causes the surface to be so cold? It must be because of the air conditioning system. It could be that these positions where the mold is forming is very near to the cold air, the aircon outlet. Maybe it comes out from one particular grills on the floor. It should right up into that part of the ceiling. That cause maybe the the floor ceiling. Not too sure whether it is those gypsum board or those standard 600 by 600 ceiling board. If it's the standard 600 by 600 ceiling board, you are likely to have this frame. And this frame can become so cold because cold air keeps shooting up in the same positions. And that could have caused the condensations to start forming.
Yes. Okay, the printer room is actually the first room after the issue. So that was the first stop before it goes to other place. So we suspected that was the cause. So we took a aerometer to check whether the flow is too strong, the HU, the fan was too strong that it goes right up. But when we checked the other room, we had 3 rooms along the same wall. We find it very surprising that the other 2 rooms didn't have mold at all. So, I mean, we don't know how to look at it, but the mold doesn't appear overnight. It appears after 3-6 months or something like that. You see. So yes, but your explanation also was something that it be investigated.
I see. Yeah. So of course, as I mentioned, when you need to solve condensation issues that resulted in mold, 2 very important things that you need to consider. What is making that surface so cold, and what is the source of this slightly warmer and moist air. Right? So if you can find either one of these, you have a better chance of finding the cause of the condensation. Then you can solve the molding issue. For my experience, it's actually in our own building, Block 34. During one of our major refurbishment exercise, like we extended the facade wall outward, so we have more space, more office space. But the choice of the wall materials, we didn't use the brick wall. We use those so-called weatherproof this facade panel, right? Which to me is like some kind of a drywall materials. And subsequently, the weather conditions cause the moistures to come in to the inner part of that wall, and we see extensive mold forming, right, along the entire facade. My goodness. cannot solve it because Singapore's weather, every now and then it rains, the water will stick onto the external facade and the moisture will come in. So that's a bad experience for us. Chio, you have something to share?
Because my one is also due to the server room causing the other room which is non, because the other room don't always occupy. So the whole wall near to the server room is moldy.
Yes,
condensation. So we have a big argument with the LTA side that why they on the server so high so cold. Because the whole room inside only one server, but in the end they set the temperature is less than 20.
Yes.
Less than 23 degrees because then cause our room moldy because we don't on the aircon. Then 1 week only for 1 day maybe we use the room for less than 3 hours. So our furniture, our wall all moldy That's what we always facing in our building.
Very common
very common. Another is last time I worked shopping mall is mostly is the pipe. Pipe will cause the foul smell, bad quality, and the ceiling condensation also because of the chill water pipe. Cause all these moldiness and the smell.
Yeah. Of course, another source is actually pests. Some in office because of the way some colleagues keep their food or keep their personal items. In some office, you rats may come into the office area, so they hide inside the ceiling and can run around, creating all kinds of these problems, the air quality problem. Because as we know, the bats they carry all kinds of bacteria and virus with it, right? So it's a big concern. Right?
Also, don't use rat poison. Will cause more problem. They will die until you don't know. Then more issue.
So if you put you try to solve the rats problems, you put those poison inside the aircon space, or asking for trouble. Right. So some of the common issues that we will face when we try to implement all kinds of building works project. Thanks for sharing. Right. So let's go back to the lesson. I'll just cover a bit more. Then for another next half an hour, then I think we still have time next week to continue with the topic. Right. So let me go to the right. So we are at this topic. I'll start the recording again. The next issue that we need to face is the presence of asbestos in our indoor environment. So the many research being done on the harmful effect of asbestos. This is a part of the building materials that is commonly being used in insulation and fire retardant products. As I mentioned earlier, especially in the 70s, when we have the world faced the energy crisis. Right? So the buildings are installed with very good insulation, and therefore, and unfortunately at that time, asbestos is one of the common choice of insulation materials, and that ultimately helps to release, right, a lot of this fiber, right, that becomes irritants to the human body. So research has found that um, the fibers, right, and its the health effect is so concerning that to the extent that the industry has to ban the use of asbestos. So, and we did that in Singapore since 1980. The problem with the asbestos when it is being used as an insulation materials inside, I mean, in our air conditioning systems, because as you can see, the air conduct, the, the chill water pipes, these are conduit that carries very cold fluid, whether water or air. So we need to wrap the pipes and the ducts with layers of insulation materials to prevent condensations happening at the exterior surface of these ducts and pipes, and also to conserve the cooling inside the pipes and the ducts. But as a result, these asbestos, although they are good insulation materials, thermal insulation materials, they get to be torn, break up, and being released into the air. So that's where the troubles come. And it has been found that the asbestos can even lead to cancer, right? Typically the lung cancer. So, and when the human body has a long exposure to this, since it's part of the air conditioning systems, right, some may find its way into the air path, and the problems becomes very serious. The lung, right, will have irreversible scarring, just like smoking. There are other biological pollutants, such as bacterials and viruses, that will contribute to the health concern. And this can come from people, right? Animals, plants. So when we bring this back to our home, into our office, so they stay and continue to grow in our living environment. So what can we do about them, right? Because since it's part of the human activities, cannot totally stop them. But we have to find ways to counter their effect, or at least mitigate the effects. So we need to find which are the areas that are likely to contribute to these biological pollutants. Are there places whereby once these bacteria or virus come in, right, they can start to grow? Because if not, some of these bacteria and viruses, they may die, right, after their life cycle. Right? So typically, these biological pollutants need some way to survive and to grow. For example, they need moisture. They may need sunlight. Okay? So places where it is dark and damp, right? Surfaces that is wet. When you have stagnant water, or you have some air conditioning systems, such as the air distribution systems, right, where the condensations will happen. So these are the places where these biological pollutants will start to breed. So for bacterials, common contributions, of course, as we mentioned, the human activities, or when we have dusty environment. Right? So the bacterials is also able to live on the different dust particles, right? In the air, taking the nutrients, right, from the environment. Mold, as we have mentioned earlier, is a very common problems that we need to face. Right? So they grow on materials, okay, that is wet, and it creates the musty smell, right, and very unsightly patches. Besides the smell, which is an odor nuisance, right, and the unsightly patches, which basically damage your finishes, wall finishes, um, your furniture finishes. It has very bad health effect, right? In the form of the endotoxins and mycotoxins. So these will help, will cause, for example, the endotoxins, when it's being released and it's in our body, our body's white blood cell will see it as enemy, so they come and attack and cause inflammatory response in our body. Okay, so we develop high fever, swelling, and so on. Right? So those are the health concerns. As we have mentioned, I mean, we're during the discussions, we we highlighted that the solutions, and sometimes it could also be the problem, is your air conditioning and mechanical ventilation system. If the system is well designed, operated uh, in a proper way, we can make use of the ACMV systems to clean the air, to dilute the pollutants, right? And to solve our these indoor air quality issues. But if it is not done properly or not well designed, then we will have issues. The hot air, the polluted air cannot be vented up into the external environment, right, fast enough. They got trapped within the building, right? Um, and they got, and the odors and the pollutants get absorbed into the finishes, right? Because of a prolonged, extended stay in that environment, right? And then this pollutant slowly release back into the environment. So, so those are the issues if we are unable to design and operate the ACMV system properly. So we need to be able to understand, like, how to properly design the systems and the choice of the filtration systems, right, that can help us improve on the air quality. Because if you look at the air conditioning system, besides creating the thermal comfort by cooling the air, it also plays the dehumidification function. That means it removes moisture in the air. If you have a good air conditioning system that operates, you will have less moldy issue, growth of fungus. If your air conditioning system allows adequate amount of outdoor fresh air to be brought into the indoor space, then you have a better chance, right, of diluting the pollutants in the air. So those are the solutions. So we need to understand how does this pollutant comes into the indoor space and how does it leave the building. Because of the difference in air pressure indoor and outdoor, the pollutants may go either way. Right? So sometimes it will come in from exterior. Right? So as we mentioned earlier, having a taxi stand, having a vehicle waiting area, having a car park or bus stop next to your main entrance of the building. Naturally, all these pollutants will infiltrate into your building. Every time the sliding door open, it comes in. Cannot stop it. So sometimes it's because we need natural ventilation. So we provided windows for the occupied space. And this becomes an entrance to all these pollutants. Sometimes it's because of the mechanical ventilation that we use. We need to draw the outdoor fresh air from into our building or into our air conditioning systems. But the source of this outdoor fresh air, have we chosen the correct entry point? Is it near to the cooling tower? Is it near to the toilet exhaust? Although in Singapore, our building control regulations and the code of practice states very clearly, the fresh air intake must always be at least 5 meters away from the exhaust of your building. But would it be, but sometimes these over the years, people may forget, right, to properly so-called maintain this requirement, right, during renovations or adjacent new buildings come up, contributing. We have situations like this. The kitchen exhaust from one building somehow, the way the fan blow can easily affect your neighbor's building, right? So these are the issues, the real issues that we face on site. So we need to properly design the mechanical ventilation and air conditioning systems, having sufficient air change, right, which means having sufficient of outdoor air to come into the building to replace the indoor air. As I mentioned, the way the air is going to move into your building or exiting the building, it depends on the air pressure. So it also depends on the stack effect. Stack effects meaning hot air will rise, cold air will sink. Right? So because of the movement of air upwards, for those of you who have been involved in some form of building design, especially the mechanical ventilation design, um, we are able to do calculations to show that for a high tall building, the pressure inside the air pressure inside the building at certain floors, the air is going to be naturally coming in. At certain floor, the air is naturally going out because of this stack effect and the air pressure. Right? So typically, you can imagine hot air will rise, and the air, because of the hot air rising in a tall building, okay, then the air at the upper floors tends to push the room air out of the building, whereas at the lower floors, the tendency is the air pressure inside the building is lower than the air pressure outside. So the outdoor air will tends to rush in. So that's a result of the stack effect. So, and of course, the wind effect also plays a part. Right? So causing maybe the air tends to come in from a certain direction, and the other side of the facade tends to um, experience exfiltration. So that's the stack effect. So to improve on the indoor air quality, this is important for us to understand the thermal environment, right? And that includes understanding or measuring the temperature and the relative humidity of the indoor air. Okay? So thermal comfort means our body feels comfortable with the thermal environment, meaning its sensation of the air temperature and the relative humidity, right? The moisture, the amount of moisture in the air. Okay? So, because if the relative humidity of a space is high, right, the tendency is or the moisture content in your building is high, the tendency of it to experience condensations at the surfaces, the chances will also becomes higher. Right? And that could contribute later to the molding issues. So when we do indoor air quality investigations or design, these are the important environmental factors, right, that we will consider: the air temperature, the relative humidity of the air velocity, and the mean radiant temperatures. Okay, what I'll do is I think I'll stop here. Maybe I should cover a few more. Okay, maybe I'll just cover a few more slides so that we have less to cover next week. So how does these 4 factors affect our thermal comfort? And temperature, you're very familiar. Our human body, of course, are able to adapt to the air temperature. In Singapore's context, with normal clothing, our human bodies tends to enjoy thermal comfort when the air temperature is between around 23 to 28 degrees Celsius. For relative humidity, the thermal comfort level, it's when the relative humidity of the air is between 30 to about 70%. I'm not too sure whether you're familiar with this concept of relative humidity. We make use of percentage to measure, right, or to describe the effect of relative humidity from 0% all the way to 100%. If I tell you that the relative humidity of the air is 0%, for example, what it means, the effect is I spray any water on the floor, it will evaporate straight away. Right? So that's the effect of 0% relative humidity, or the very low percentage of relative humidity in the air. On the other hand, if our relative humidity of the air is 100%, then basically we are saying that the moisture in the air, right, in the form of water vapor, can no longer remain as a vapor. It will have to turn back into liquid. That means condensation will occur. Right? So that's the reason why in Singapore, when we say we have a very humid environment, because the relative humidity of the air in most of our environment, non-aircon, it's easily 70, 80%. And that's why we always feel sticky in a very humid, say, afternoon, okay, or even at night, because the moisture, we sweat, right? We perspire, right? This sweat that comes up from our skin cannot evaporate fast enough if the relative humidity of the air is high. In the air, there's already a lot of water vapor, so it doesn't want much more. So the moisture cannot evaporate fast enough. And that's why we feel warm and sticky. So that's the effect of the relative humidity. And our human body tends to feel comfortable when this percentage is around 30 to 70%. And then for an aircon environment, it can easily achieve 50 to 70% if we operate an aircon system. The relative humidity has other effects. If the relative humidity becomes high, the growth of fungi and the molds becomes very rapid. And if you are able to maintain the relative humidity of the air in the region, the lower region, less than about 50, 60%, then good chance the fungi and the mold cannot form. And that's the reason why in some museum or places where you keep the artifacts. If you want to keep the mold away, right, you have to maintain the RH in the space to something below, say, 50%. So that's the effect of relative humidity of the air. Air velocities, you feel it, right? When there's air movement, you feel a bit of chill effect. Right? If it's too low, then you feel that the air is stagnant. Mean radiant temperature, it's a scientific value that is calculated. You cannot measure using any instrument. It's a calculated value. So we have to take the surface temperatures of all our environment, right? The walls, the TVs, projectors, your laptop, all these heated surfaces are radiating some form of heat to you, right? Or a very cold surface is receiving radiation from your human body. So this combined effect, right, can be translated into mean radiant temperature, right, to help us understand whether we are losing heat to the external environment or we are gaining heat from the external environment. And this has an impact on the thermal comfort. So in an air conditioning system, what we are trying to do is we're trying to supply, right, this low temperature air into the space so that it can pick up the heat. It can help to remove the excessive heat and also the moisture inside the room via the return air duct. So some of this air will go up of the building, right, if there is an exhaust path, right? But not all air conditioning systems are installed with the exhaust path. Okay? The modern one, yes. The older one, so but majority of this return air is meant to go back into the air handling unit, whereby it is being cooled down again by the cooling coil. So at this moment, there's an opportunity for us to bring in sufficient amount of outdoor fresh air, right, and also pass the air through an air filter to clean the air. So this becomes an important part of our IAQ solution. By having the air conditioning system, a properly designed and operated air conditioning system, literally, technically, I can control the indoor air quality by choosing the right types or quality of air filter, by introducing the right amount of outdoor fresh air. So that is an important solution to our IAQ problems. All right. So I think I'll stop here for today's lessons. Are there any questions? Okay. If there are no further questions, stop the recording. So next week we will continue with the remaining topics. Right? And you can let me know by next week how you have been forming your team in completing this IAQ assignment. Is that okay?
Okay.
So hold on, let me try to capture the attendance. Don't want to miss out anyone. Is everybody here today? I think so. 4, 5, 6. Yes, I think everybody is here. I hope you have taken your QR code attendance. Yes? No?
Oh, no, I haven't taken it.
Haven't taken.
Oh, haven't taken. Okay. So maybe before you go, I let. Okay, before you go, let me show the QR code.
Mr. Chan can show the QR code.
Yes, give me a minute. I need to go into steps to bring out the QR code. Attendance class number 98. Okay, this QR code that I'm going to show, it's for the class including Durai, Ping Zhong, Feng, Jaslyn, Chapming, Chin Chan, and Xin Xin. So I need to capture your attendance first for these 7 students. You can see that Chapming and Chin Chan, you have already taken your attendance separately. So that's fine. So for the rest, I'm going to show you the QR code shortly. Are you able to see the QR code? As I mentioned, this one it's for the class formed by Durai, Bing Zhong, Fei Ying, Jaslyn, Xin Xin. Suppose Declan would have taken your attendance separately. So if you need to
go up a bit.
Sure.
Yes, I took my attendance, Mr. Chan.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, you can go ahead. Justin's attendance taken. Min Zhong's attendance taken. Okay, Feng, taken. So that's for this group. So next, I'm going to look at the other groups.
Mr. Chan, my attendance taken already, I think. I'm due.
Yes, I saw your attendance.
Taken already. Going very fast. That's all the fresh. I didn't see my name. It's fresh.
Yes, it's
Business.
captured. Yeah, it's captured.
Okay.
I will put it over here so that rest assured this has been taken. On green screen first, then post over here. Anyway, do it later. So next I'm going to show the QR code for the second class. In fact, I think all 5 have taken the attendance yourself. Thank you. And let me do this. RA352464. Okay, so this QR code is meant for Carlin's and Dick Ming's group, Shatika, Chen Yi. Right, so you take your attendance using this QR code. Okay. Let me shift the
The Chan, my attendance taken already, right?
on. I'm going to paste the attendance screenshot so that we can all see and have no doubt. Okay, so paste one for the earlier class. Next. so far I've captured Chi Yo, Calvin, Shatika, Shen Yi, Dick Ming, and Raymond's attendance. Is there one more whose attendance not taken? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Supposed to have 7. Whose is not taken? Khalid, right? Khalid? Khalid? Cannot hear you. But have you taken your attendance? Or are you having problems taking your attendance? Yes, no problem, huh? Can go on. So in that case, I will help you to update your attendance, right? So we have taken attendance for all. Thank you very much. And good night.
Okay, good night.
Good night.